Must have fallen asleep at work again. But can you blame me? The only one here in this quiet, empty building, the snow gently falling outside. The only thing that would keep me awake in a situation like this is the persistent feeling while I'm working that eyes are staring down at me from the darkened windows across the street. Or staring at me down the hall that's open behind me at all times. Wow, that is actually genuinely awful. I hadn't really looked until now. Anyway, hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Gary's Mod. And today, the map we're going to be exploring is GM's Snowy Isolation. And a snowy isolation it is, as we are, I guess, the only employee left watching over this office building at night. I've got to say, I've always found the night shift to be the epitome of creepy and comfy. That time when you're all by yourself, able to just kind of sit and reflect and get your work done at your own pace. And just kind of be inside your own head. Comfy because you got the whole place to yourself. You've got your own little bubble here where you can just kind of be deaf to everything else that's going on around you. Or that there could be somebody in the vent waiting to spring up on you at any moment. God, this is actually the worst spot for comfy. Can I maybe request another station? Actually, no wonder there needs to be a security checkpoint right there if we're just leaving the garage doors partially open. My God, I would be sitting here the entire time just asking myself, did I just see a shadowy figure dart under one of those doors? And even thinking that I may have would mean that it's going to be my job to go check and see who's here, or who isn't here. Speaking of who is or isn't here, there's a police car parked in front of the gates. Doesn't look like it's occupied though, but neither is the gate open. I don't recall calling for anyone. God, what happened while I was asleep? That's the worst thing. If you're in a security job and you fall asleep, when you wake up, you have no idea what's changed. Can we let you in? No, door's locked. Maybe somebody across the street did see somebody crawl in here. I mean, if I didn't call, then who did? Well, let's go on the hunt. This is very Stanley Kubrick right here, right? It's not just me. Those barricades are like, come play with us. Forever and ever. Now, I'd assume this to be an office building, but this is actually looking much more industrial. And yeah, sure, maybe I'm not the best fit for the job if I don't even know what kind of place I work in, but hey, maybe it is an office. Maybe it just has a warehouse section. Yeah, see, no, that looks more like what I was expecting. Still, it sounds like there's something wrong with the electrical, which is already not a good sign. Doesn't seem like a person can actually fit through here, so that's some small comfort. Tell you what can fit through is the wind. I can already feel the chill just standing in here. It looks like there's supposed to be somebody in this booth, but I guess I'm the only one working here tonight. Skeleton crew, huh? It's the holidays. Maybe I'm the only one here because everybody else has been granted vacation. Maybe I like this kind of work. Maybe I decided, yeah, I'll take that position, the one nobody wants, but it pays quite handsomely. Maybe now I'm regretting it. There's a lot of very wide vents here, and it's making me worry that somebody's crawling around in them even as we speak. Okay, let's move this and try and find the source of that. Whoa. Okay, well, at least we were partly on it. There must have been some kind of accident, maybe with the forklifts right before a break. Best they could do was a slapdash job. Still, maybe they could have Maybe they could have killed power to this area? It seems better than leaving wires sparking while everyone goes on break. Maybe that's one of my duties. Just monitor it and call the fire department if something happens. Do you see that? Huh. Oh, I guess maybe that's supposed to be dust catching in the light? I thought I was going to find a broken window, like it's pouring snow in here. The floor certainly looks wet enough. Actually, now that I look around, just what kind of place is this? Blast doors for security? I mean, it looks like an office, but an office built into a bunker or something. Safe vault. Opening more locations, Safe Vault for the past few years has gathered over $10 to be used for spreading the company throughout the country. Showing off to new investors. A very important goal for the company for this year is to get new investors interested in it. Massive investments could cause massive growth for Safe Vault. Improving contact with TV Factory Puck. Closer bonds between us and TV Factory Puck could help improve the quality of our workers and or quality of life for our workers and their safety. Eliminating competition. Through the means of corruption and child labor, Safe Vault could secure more support from important players in this industry and also massively cut down on costs, making us able to offer our services at cheaper prices than our competitors. Okay, so you've described how a corporation works. What you have skillfully avoided doing is explaining what you actually do. Somehow you manage to admit to crimes before you explain what you do. Well, I guess that's what it takes to make it in the business world these days. Ooh. Wow, look at that view. We can even look over and see other parts of the building. That is such a weird feeling for me, being able to look out a window and into another window and see another part of the building I'm in that seems so disconnected and different from the space that I'm in. I don't know, it just makes the place feel so weirdly huge, and, well, I feel really uncomfortable, all these open angles, knowing I'm the only one in the building, knowing that somebody could be peering at me from around any corner. It almost makes me feel drawn to the windows, like I'm safer when I'm looking out. Break room. Yeah, see, now this is nice and cozy. But I still can't forget that the police were called for a reason. And the longer I go without seeing or hearing from them, the worse that seems. Dude, I'm just night security. I don't carry a gun. I must admit, it is tempting to just sit here beside the window and close the door and make it not my problem, but unfortunately I've got a job to do, and it's my job on the line if anything goes wrong. Still, it's really creepy looking up at those cameras and knowing that since I'm the only one here, no one's watching. Or if they are, they're in my station. Actually, just kind of got shivers thinking about that. Are we able to leave? Well, we're able to access the stairwell at least. Oh, look at that. There's a helicopter flying above. And it seems to be looking at our building. And the police car in front, the helicopter up there. It's almost like some maniac killer has fled into here and we're the only one that doesn't know because we missed the phone call. Once more, telling myself stories to freak myself out, and that, I think, is like the crux of the creepy and comfy on the night shift. It's the fact that you have so much time to spend in your head that you can get comfortable without any distractions. But what if you are the distraction? What if you tell yourself a scary story to entertain yourself? Like, for example, why I rounded that corner, and this isn't going to make sense to anybody, but the shadow at the back of that shelf, I thought it was some big dark figure leering around the corner. You know, people who work the night shift alone really are in the role of designated horror protagonist in real life, aren't they? Because so much of the runtime of a horror movie is hearing a strange noise and going to slowly creep around and investigate. And that nervous searching is something that, well, is pretty much their whole job, right? I'll be honest, this map is creeping me out quite a bit more than it probably should, and I think a big part of that is because I can kind of imagine myself actually here doing this job. And part of the reason it's so immersive is because of the stark contrast that it creates between inside and out. I look out onto that night and it feels calm, but also dark and cold. In here, it feels a lot more safe. It feels warm and the lights are all on, but at the same time, there's so many angles and corners and spots in my peripheral vision. I feel like I can't be on guard from every direction I need to be. And I think something about the detail in this place that makes it feel like an actual workplace, the exit signs and the potted plants and the little impromptu computer setups. I don't know, I guess I can just imagine myself arriving at 9 p.m. and maybe it's not as busy as during the workday, but there's still some janitors and management around. You know, you pop in some headphones, you talk to them as they pass by, but that becomes more and more infrequent as time goes on. And then you hear the click and the lock of that door behind you and you realize you really are alone, and all of a sudden, you thought you had this. The night takes on a completely different tone. Suddenly you're all too aware of those persistent sounds from down the hall. Those creepypastas that you were reading during the day and laughing at the goofiness now have you kind of staring over your shoulder for like half the night. I really do think that the Graveyard Shift episode of SpongeBob really did something to me and changed the way that I view horror. Because it's the subtlety, it's the stories you tell yourself that hurt you the most. Okay, well, it's a good thing the sound of the lights kicking in startled me, because otherwise I would have been startled by myself in the mirror, and that would have been way worse. Okay, if there is potentially an intruder, we have to check the bathroom stalls. Come on. If you really wanted to be mean, you'd put something in the final one, but look at this. I mean, just look at this for a moment. I would never use this stall while at work because of this one, the light doesn't quite reach it, and so this one in particular is left in darkness. Imagine I come out and I just see something that was like looking around like this, just go poof, and dart off into the hall. Not seriously though, with all these different corners that I'm rounding, I swear I keep seeing things. Did I close this door? That's another thing. I'm seeing doors opened or closed. I'm seeing furniture moved around, and I'm wondering if I did that. I should be the only one here, so nothing should be changing, right? There's a broken window here. Huh. This isn't usually my jurisdiction. Usually there's another guy for that. Wait, what even is this? This looks kind of like a cell. Oh no. Oh no, all my years of gaming prepared me for this. I thought they didn't notice that I was playing games during work hours, but come on, I'm the night guard. What else am I supposed to do to pass the time? They put me in a Five Nights at Freddy's and I didn't even realize it. Worse yet, I'm a side character in a Five Nights at Freddy's because apparently they already got the protagonist. Might as well open the blast doors, since whatever's going to get me is just going to get me through the vents anyway. You can't tell me that's not what it's supposed to be like. There's the warehouse down there. There's a whole lower floor. It's not just this. Look at that, the frost building up on the glass. Every once in a while, there's the errant flake that manages to fall in here, suggesting that one of these is probably broken. As if the chill wasn't already evidence enough. This place is in such horrible disrepair. For the place that's this blatant about all its crimes and its business practices, of course it would be a horrible place to work. Especially when you're not anyone else's problem. Maybe the cop was able to get in over here? Why is it less windy outside than inside? God, my instinct is to just hug the wall with my back right now. That truck's headlights are still on, as if it was trying to pull out... Wait, what? This looks like they tried to ram the gate. Well, I guess we could climb out. There's no one inside. They just barely missed that snowman, which for some reason was built facing into the lot. Oh, look at that. We can actually come outside. This map might have some scope to it. And from out here, we can get an idea of the shape of the building. Man, I mean, it makes sense because we're in an industrial park, but this has real industrial park at night vibes. You know what I mean, right? Look, there's even icicles hanging from the overhangs. It's creepy inside, but it all seems so peaceful from out here. If I were pursued by something in there, a passerby on the street would never know what's going on inside these brick confines. That's the thing, with those bars on the windows, the thick steel doors. It can be a shield or it can be a prison. Ooh, we can use ladders to climb up onto the roof. Up here there's no lights but the moonlight reflecting off the snow and our own flashlight. Huh. I guess some of the staff like to come up here and hang out. What is with all these abandoned and wrecked cars? It's like I missed some kind of cataclysm while I was asleep. The lights are still on all over, but it's not just like I'm the only one in the building. It's like I'm the only one in the city. Still, it doesn't look like I'm getting in through any of these upstairs doorways completely snowed in. Is there something back there? I can't quite squeeze through, but it looks like somebody else had a drinking spot of their own. No getting into there. God, imagine if I looked down just now and I saw somebody looking out the window, just kind of like leaning over to see me, and then going back inside. I don't know what's scarier in a situation like this. The idea that something is looking for you, or the idea that something is silently avoiding you. Maybe something that's always been here, and this just happened to be the night you detected that there was something besides you here. Or the idea that neither of you knows about each other, that there's no intention at all, you just share the space and keep coincidentally missing. I feel like I would be freaked out by that. Like, imagine if I worked at this place for a couple of weeks, and then just on like night 17 or whatever, bumped into a janitor and you scare each other, and you find out that you've both shared the same shift the entire time and just never happened to cross paths. I imagine a lot of things would start to make sense, huh? Oh, this is so stupid. This is so stupid, but I'm not seeing any other signs of life. Well, except for the crows flying overhead. Still, it's a little uncomfortable that they're not even bothering to caw in my direction. Okay, there's a security booth over there. There's gotta be staff here, right? But of course, we already knew the answer to that. Oh, we can lift the gate. If that cop wants to swing his car around, he can much more easily enter now. The fact that he hasn't is, again, cause for alarm, in a sea of things that are cause for alarm. A situation like this, it's more about what's not happening. Wait, you're back. Right, I'd forgotten all about you. Where are you? Wait, there you are. Hey, yo! Survivor right here. Oh my god, the tracking. Hey! Right here. Point that light down, please. God, I keep swearing I can hear, like, whistling behind me. I have to wonder right now, did they somehow not see me, or am I toxic? Like something that, if found, should be avoided. I mean, look, maybe I'm thinking about this the wrong way. Because clearly this is a map that's meant to be played on, maybe some type of roleplay, but either way, all these elements, when I'm alone, are coming together to paint a really strange and creepy picture. Why is this hallway door torn open? I think it's pretty well established at this point that really shady stuff goes on at this company. And this is a hall I was never meant to venture down. But that's what happens when you leave the curious to their own devices. I kept thinking some huge creature was going to lurch into that doorway and start chasing me down the hall while I frantically wait for it to open enough for me to crawl under. What happened here? Somebody rammed a truck full of toxic waste right through the wall. Back gate open. This almost looks like a deliberate attack. And apparently we're also storing the stuff by the pallet over here. Contaminated area? Yeah, sure looks like it. Was there an insider component to this attack? Somebody rams this wall from here while they jam it in from the storage. And whatever's happening here, it's seemingly happening everywhere. Maybe whatever that stuff is deadly enough that it has forced an evacuation of the entire area, like several blocks around. Maybe I was more right than I knew when I asked if I was somehow toxic. My fear might have been coming from the wrong direction. Dude, that is so terrifying. Just think about waking up and being the only one who missed a cataclysm like this. I mean, we spent so long just walking around thinking this was regular creepy workplace jitters. And as time has gone on, we've revealed that it was so much more. Just aspects of this environment that were this way when we woke up. But we simply had no idea due to lack of proximity. That door is ajar. That's the toxic storage area. I mean, if I were to speculate, vault safe, maybe we're something like Vault Tech. Maybe we make those home bunker solutions, or maybe we provide our own. And maybe all we needed was a good disaster to set them to use. We're clearly, at the very least, guilty of improper storage of dangerous materials. Alright, if I were to break one of these open, surprisingly easy, I'm starting to get the impression, just looking around at these things, that they just lead to different rooms, places I've already been, and with that being the case, I think we've just got to get out of here. Oh God, look at the size of the moon in the sky. Look, whatever that stuff is, I would not be surprised if it's leaking all over the place. And we just need to get some distance between us and it, right? And try the gas station across the street. $5.25 for a gallon of regular. Well, that's the real horror. There's nothing quite so disconcerting as the ring of a shopkeep bell in an empty store. Nothing. But there are police barricades set up. Yeah, that's what I think this is. There's an evacuation with this building as the center. Now, whether it originates from here or whether it's due to the attack on here remains to be seen, but, well, given what we have seen, I wouldn't be at all shocked. Just how far down the street can we actually travel? Maybe I was onto something with my observation of the darkened windows across the street earlier. We can actually explore the other buildings. I really thought it would just be ours. Imagine just being in our chair, looking at the building across the street, not knowing that there's a guard in a similar position, the only employee who also stares back at our own. Do kindred spirits destined to never meet? The scope of this map is much, much greater than I expected. But the further we travel, the more we reveal the extent of what happened here. Okay, now this is starting to feel like Cry of Fear. The fact that it's also perfectly lit, the fact that, aside from a few key places, there's no clear signs that anything's happened at all. That's what gets me the most. The idea of a silent disaster. Something so silent it can literally come in your sleep, and it forces you to discover it on your own time. A disaster that can wait for you. Is that you? When you're out in the cold, a porch light looks so inviting, doesn't it? And I'm starting to wonder about all these snowmen in places where there isn't snow. They always seem to be facing just the right direction. Or in this case, just the wrong one. I didn't actually expect that to work. Alright, well, at least we know we can fight him. Get on the wire with the other towns and let them know we know how to take him down. This whole block. Yeah, I think that one might be just a bit totaled. All these businesses on side streets and dark back alleys. It really makes me wonder what all this stuff is intended for in gameplay. I see you hiding back there. Oh, I think that's a stain on the glass. Yeah, no, for a second I thought there was a shadow staring down at me. Two shadows. Actually, now that I look at these windows, the more I stare, the more it really does look like that, and the more I'm not sure if that's what it's supposed to be. Riverside. What I wouldn't give to just crawl behind this desk and kind of stay here and wait it out. Wait for someone to come for me? Good timing, helicopter. Unfortunately, I don't think you can help me here, but, I mean, see, this is the night shift job I want. Big window right in front of me, sitting behind the register in a bookshop. The type of people who come in late at night are bound to be the most interesting, right? I mean, nobody's holding up a bookshop at 3 a.m. Is there such thing as a bookshop that's open at 3 a.m.? And can I shop/live there? It's got an upstairs. I'm going to close this door so that it feels like there's more degrees of separation between me and the big scary outside. Ooh, it's a tall building as well. This is making me dizzy. I guess everybody likes to hang out on rooftops around here. I always feel like doing this stuff around wintertime when it's really freezing, when I can feel that cold even being near my window, because I do feel that the wintertime is an underutilized setting for horror. When everything is cold and silent, when it gets dark so early in the day, I mean, right there you're already inviting vampires outside of their normal work hours. Actually, 30 Days of Night is a good example of exactly that happening. Okay, so down there is the garage/warehouse where we came from. I think we just continue working our way down this street, right? I keep thinking about seeing movement in the windows of our building in particular. Like, if you don't understand why that's so creepy to me, look at it this way. It's a cold winter morning, there's a small sheet of frost on the ground. You step outside in your bathrobe and slippers to quickly grab the newspaper, but you turn around and see someone grinning at you from your upstairs window. Not only is it creepy because you were just with whatever is in there, but you don't know where you're going, but you know you can't go back. Was this door open before? There's no possibility this door could have been open before, right? Because I hadn't come down this way. That is actually really unnerving. Like, in a meta sense, not in the we're piecing together a story as we go kind of way. My friend Matthew once said to me, what would you do if you were on a map and you got a subtitle that said, door open, but you weren't close enough to hear it and you knew you were alone? Well, I'm starting to get that sort of feeling now. So many interactive but locked doors. And there's a weird bassy wibbliness coming from the ceiling. These bright lights make this whole building feel like a trap, honestly. Like it wanted me to come in here. Anything we can see from the window? The movement of those bushes scared me. As far as I can tell, our only move is going to be to go into that tunnel. So let's do it. And I am actually rushing a little bit, I'm not going to lie. No? But then there's back here. We could hop up and over. Our own enclosed little space, you standing watch. And another place where even the wind seems to hold its breath. Locked. Like, from a design perspective, I'm struggling to even think what players are meant to do on this map. I mean, it's incredibly well made, but I'm having a hard time imagining what game mode it would be. RP, Trouble in Terrorist Town? It seems so open in some ways and so closed off in others. And maybe it's just me, but I do get a little bit paranoid when I can't read intention, even if it's for something as simple as this. But I think that's the end of the road. And the end of the road for a lot of others as well. Look, there's a bridge crossing, but not everyone made it over. Then again, maybe all I need to know is in the name. GM's snowy isolation. Maybe I had it right from the very beginning. Maybe I would have been better off just doing my job and making my rounds and making sure this place stays locked down, even though there's no one out there to break in. Because the interior of this place, through the existence of the exterior, oddly enough, is the map that I think has best captured the night shift vibes. Being all alone in a building that has nothing wrong with it on the surface, but you get curious, you start exploring, you start going into areas that aren't necessarily covered under your duties. And in doing so, you turn up stuff that you can't do anything with the information, but it's stuff they didn't want you to know. Stuff you didn't want to know. Mainly that your cozy little night shift security job was actually much more dangerous than you thought, and you would have never known if you had just stayed in your lane. Oh, but I never did fully check down that hall, did I? Okay, I've gotten ahead of myself. Some of this I've seen. These closed-off areas, those faded posters up there that sort of start to look like vines and overgrowth in their texture. And all these interior windows, why would you do this? It's like they want us to feel watched from every angle possible. Especially in the night when we know that anything out there can see in, but we can't really see out. This place is all angles. Look at this. This is the definition of a liminal space right here, and it's taken us until the end to find it, because it's a break room that is essentially built into a hallway. There's a locker room here. I also don't like the carpet in all these inappropriate places. In the janitor's closet, in a locker room which, why does it even need to exist in this form for a job like this? And I believe this is what goes down to the warehouse again, so at least there's connectivity. Alright, well, you know what? We've got to finish our patrol one way or another. They monitor an app on our phone, and they can see if we've been to all the right places. So apocalypse or no, I've got to make sure we've seen everything. Here's the employee mess hall, all amenities provided. But still, every once in a while there's like a deep rumbly sound that lasts for like only a second, and the whole ambiance resets with it, and I don't like it. It's only happened a handful of times too, which is, it kind of makes it seem like it's not part of the regular soundscapes. It makes it seem like there is something there. But why would you do this? Imagine walking parallel to this window, just making your nightly rounds, and out of the corner of your eye you see what you thought was your reflection that just isn't there when you look. Or maybe that continues on without you. And I know I keep asking you to imagine things, but that's what makes the night shift so creepy. When you get scared in a situation like this, it's not because you actually think there's something out there. It's because you think, what if there was something out there, and you picture it and you ruminate on it, and it becomes real to you, and unreal at the same time. I always define creepy and comfy as danger, but a sense of insulation and safety from that danger. Here, you could get that feeling from being inside a warm, seemingly secure building while looking out at a dark and spooky and snowy night. But there's another element to that as well. And I think that's simultaneously holding the idea that there is and isn't something out to get you. That you are or are not in danger. It's like when you read a creepypasta and you just kind of lock the door and turn on the lights and snuggle up in your blankets with your pets. You don't actually think that the creature from the creepypasta is coming for you, but It's in your head. Your body believes it. And so you have to take steps to make yourself feel safe from something you sort of know isn't coming. Where does this even lead? Whatever it is, it was quarantined by the police. Hang on, back to the crowbar. Official business. Oh, it's another loading bay entrance. And we can open and close that gate. Not that it much matters when the other one is jammed with a van like that. Once again, even more headlights left on, suggesting that all those employees that were here when I arrived for my shift, they may have left the building, but they never got to leave, and I never knew it. Oh. There's so much more damage to this place than I even thought. Okay, but we have been here, and I am eager to get a move on. It's funny how the outdoors is the scary darkness that you look out onto. It is the danger you're being insulated from, and yet, after all we've seen, looking back at that building and the thought of going in actually gives me the jitters. Just because I know what that experience is like. This map was such an unexpected joy to explore, and I mean that in every way. I mean, from the lighting to the atmosphere that it creates, to the fairly interesting architecture going on, and, like, at an almost unnecessary scale. Like, I don't know why we can explore the buildings in several blocks around the place. But we can. And there's even like a small amount of subtle storytelling. Not that it's subtle, it's literally a truck through a brick wall. But it's so downplayed. Like, it doesn't seem like a story map, and yet there's something there. It wears its comfiness on its face, but it just suggests the creepiness and leaves a lot of the rest to you. Even the name, Snowy Isolation, sort of implies at first that maybe there's a little bit more to it than what our spawn point would have implied. I just like the idea that I was able to walk around the map, and my perception of what the story is here, even if I was making it up as I went along, completely changed several times over. It doesn't seem like we really missed anything on the streets, but if you look over at the building itself, look at how sprawling that is. That's actually kind of the feeling that I was talking about when we were looking out the window in the break room. Because when you can see out the window at other parts of the building that you're in, it's one of the only times you can really grasp just how sprawling it is from the small little corner that you're in. I just got jump scared by that. I mean, every area is so self-contained. There's actually kind of a stomach-dropping feeling when you no-clip out of that and see just how wide the maze you're in really is. It's just that it was never intended as a maze. You were supposed to have your own little corner that's yours, but well, we decided we just had to be curious. I also think a big part of this game's creepy is how relatable a creepy it is. I mean, anyone who works the night shift can relate to the feeling of having their little station sitting there, but having that one opening that they always feel watched from, that they always have to keep glancing over their shoulder at, and of course there's never anything there, but they just can't shake the feeling. That one hallway they really don't like going down, that one big room that they don't like the moment where they're standing in the doorway waiting for the lights to flicker on. And it's that relatability that allows fiction to reach you that much more readily. It doesn't have to explain an entire concept to you because you're already there. You're already able to place yourself in those shoes. I think that's why Work Simulator and like Chillizart games are so popular. And I think the same also works in reverse as well. Because not only does having those experiences allow you to better engage with media that you relate to, but I think engaging with that media can give you something to recall when you're actually in that situation. I mean, if you've seen a stringy-haired ghost girl descend from out of a vent overhead, well, you're going to be looking up a lot more on the night shift, aren't you? And if you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for other videos you think I should do, the best place to suggest that will be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try this map out for yourself, that link will also be in the description. If you want to support me on Patreon, that link will be in the description. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna chill on this couch and wait for relief in the morning. And try not to keep looking at that corner knowing that the vent is open.